enthusiasm about stents, and indeed they are being used. And if you look at the NIC data, over a period of time, these indigenous stents are replacing the multinational stents. I think currently we stand nearly 50-50, 1:1. And the situation is quite like China, actually, as a matter of fact, where we have, in China, of course, there are 70-30, something like that. But in India, we are getting 50-50. But we are very different from China also. So in one way, we are like China, that indigenous stents are increasing their use in India. But in another way, we are different from China. Because in China, it is the government regulation, or it is the, kind of peer pressure from the group, because of which the Chinese have to use only Chinese stents. So they are kind of not allowed to use any other stent, and they are rather forced to use Chinese stents, and therefore China has got this kind of ratio. On the other hand, in India, we are faced with a different situation. It is because the stents themselves stand up in quality, I think, and at least in cost. That is why we are able to compete with the multinational stents. So, basically we have come to a point where, we can see this tiger, which is, some people call it Make in India. And let me bring out the difference between Make in India and Made in India. Make in India is something which is manufactured outside but is assembled here. Or the whole process is from outside, and we are able to do the same process and develop something. So, for example, Maruti is Make in India. For example, if we assemble certain other car in India and, we call it our own, that is all Make in India. But Made in India is something different. Made in India is something which is not available outside, which we have developed ourselves. And then, it basically takes on that challenge with other products, and that is Made in India. And I'm kind of elated to tell you that in India, at least in medical sector, in stent technology, even in pharma sector also, there are certain areas where we are having a unique product which is competing with the best in the world. And so, therefore, I would not call it Make in India, I would rather call it Made in India. So with that, I would say, but how can you say that good is the best? How good is good as best? So there are three things, of course. One of them is the technical specifications, which can tell us whether it is as good as the best. The second important thing is also cost, because if you can produce something at a lower cost, then you are good in that particular segment. But I think the most important thing that counts is the data, that is the quality of the product that you are going to discuss. So these are the three broad things which determine which is the best. Now, as we know that there has been an evolution in stent technology, and the evolution has happened in all the three aspects of a stent: the stent platform, the polymer, and the drug. So these are all three areas where the evolution has happened, and let us see how the evolution has happened. Of course, coming to the stent material, we have now stents, we want stents with more radial strength and more radio opacity, so that we can come down on a strut thickness, and then therefore we can have certain other advantages like lower restenosis rates and improved deliverability. At the same time, we want that there should be less axial and radial stiffness. That is important. The low strut thickness, I already discussed with you, and complete bioabsorption is something that we are also looking at. Coming to the strut thickness, I have already discussed with you benefits of strut thickness, low strut thickness. They are lower rates of restenosis, lower stent thrombosis, and also easy deliverability. I think that is a big advantage. If you can deliver your stent in distally, then that's a good thing. Last thing is that you can have longer stents available with you. If you have this possibility of lower strut thickness and improved deliverability, then you can probably deliver longer stents as well. But the downside of lower strut thickness is that as you come down on a strut thickness, the radio opacity decreases. Second thing is they are more prone to mechanical complications. So more complications, stent complications happen if you come down on a strut thickness. And finally, you have lower radio visibility as well. So there are some downside to strut thickness also. So the key is the balance. As I said, thinner struts may improve endothelial coverage, and therefore they may reduce risk of restenosis and stent thrombosis. That is fact is well known, and here is the strut thickness of some of the common stents. And coming back to the India concept, you will see that the Indian stents mostly have much lower strut thickness. So for example, if you look at Cypher stent, which was like 150 micron, Taxus was 120 plus, and even newer generation of drug-eluting stents, the international drug-eluting stents, if you take Medtronic stents, they are 91 micron, and Xience stent is 81 micron. But here we come down to strut thickness of 60 to 65 micron. So this is, I mean, I would say this is really an advance in the technology. We are not Me Too technology. We are not copying the technology by West, but rather we are going beyond it, and we are delivering a stent which has got even a lower strut thickness. Not only strut thickness, important things are advances in stent design, and we are classically here designs as either coil or open cell design or closed cell design. But what some of the Indian companies have done is that they have gone beyond it, and they have actually have an intelligent cell design which has got at the ends a closed cell design and in the center an open cell design. So this whole combination is an intelligent mix of the technology, better stent design. Not only that, they have also changed the connector morphology and the strut width also, which also has some impact. So we have really gone beyond these simple classifications of just closed cell or open cell, and we are into advanced hybrid stent technology. If you look at this one Indian stent, you would see that this carries all those things. It's got a low strut thickness, 65 micron. At the two ends are a closed cell design. In the center is an open cell design, which allows for better side branch access. Also, open cell design is less prone to strut fracture. But on the other hand, a closed cell design at the two ends actually prevents the longitudinal stent compression. So, it has best of both worlds, lower longitudinal stent compression as well as improved side branch access and improved, and lower strut fracture at this particular point. Okay. And even newer stent from this same company, Merrill Life Sciences, we see that the strut thickness they have now come with a stent which has a strut thickness of only 50 micron, so which is drastically less, nearly half of that of the multinational stents. So we are, progressing at a certain level, and this particular stent is known as Evermine stent. And of course, only technical is not important. You need to have some use in the patients, and here is the data also and some clinical experience with this particular stent where you can see that, it can be utilized in a normal fashion. Also, further innovations. So as I said, if you have lower strut thickness, you have better deliverability. If you have better deliverability, then you can have longer stents. But as all of us know that the coronary arteries are not uniform tubes. They are not like pipes that are of constant diameter. They keep on decreasing as we move on. They are like trees actually, branches of the trees which keep on tapering. So if you design a stent, a long stent which has got a constant diameter, then it will be a problem because you will be undersized for the proximal part and oversized for the distal part. So again, this company has come out with another type of stent which is called Biomime Morph, which exactly has this tapering. So distal is 0.5 millimeter smaller than the proximal part. So that means the balloon size at that particular point. That means that this particular stent, even if you use a long stent, will very nicely fit into that particular artery that we are talking of and have an excellent result. And so this is some clinical use of Biomime Morph that I was already discussing with you. But stent design or stent platform is one area. There are two other areas, as we already discussed. There is a polymer and there is a drug. Now coming to polymer, again there have been a lot of innovations in polymer. Interesting thing about polymers was that while polymers actually reduce rates of acute stent thrombosis, but over a period of time they themselves can excite inflammation, and they can serve as nidus for late stent thrombosis. So both ways it works, reduces acute stent thrombosis, but increases subacute stent thrombosis. Even late stent thrombosis can be increased by the presence of this polymer. So, it is a necessary evil, as I would say. Therefore, the progress of this polymer is, the whole evolution has been to try to reduce the amount of polymer. And some people even thought of no polymer, but I think we have moved away from that concept. What we require is a very thin coat of polymer, but even bioabsorbable. So we need it for 3 months to reduce acute thrombosis. We need it to store the anti-restenotic drug, but after that drug has been released, we don't need it anymore. So if it can get bioabsorbed, is a very good option. And we can see that polymers have a lot of different problems, not only inflammation, but also structural problems, mechanical problems, and therefore, naturally, one of the things that you can do is to reduce the coating thickness. And again, it is here that the indigenous stents score over maybe older or prior generation, or even newer generation multinational drug-eluting stents, because at the moment, even multinational drug-eluting stents have come down. For example, Xience has a coating thickness of 8 micron. Cypher had something more than 10, and Texas had about 20 coating of polymer. But the Indian stents have come down to from between 2 to 5 microns. So really, this has been an advance, and one can say that we have moved beyond even what multinationals are doing, and we have a coating thickness of polymers which is very low. Further, in the field of bioabsorbable polymers also, indigenous stents are doing a lot of good work. We have all these polymers that we are now looking into are all practically all bioabsorbable polymers. Particularly, there is one company which is Yukon Choice, which actually initially, if you remember, initially they came out with polymerless stent. But then they realized that polymer is actually a good thing in the early part because it reduces acute stent thrombosis. So now what they have is micropores in which they embed the drug and very thin coat of polymer. So we have best of, and the use of polymer has become actually 1/4 of what it used to be. So very thin coat of polymer with a drug embedded in micro spheres from which it can get released. So this is one great advance that has been made by Indian company, and some other companies, multinationals are also doing it. For example, ORSERO stent, which is from a multinational company, and some other are also into it. But I think Yukon has done a pioneering work on that. Another interesting area that is that, if you coat the whole stent all across, then you don't require it in the vascular side. You require it in the abluminal side. You don't require it in the luminal side, because every drug released in luminal will go into bloodstream, circulate all over the body, and you don't require that. So you only require where the neoentemal cells can proliferate, and therefore you require abluminally. And this particular company, Focus NP, actually stent is one which is abluminally coated bioabsorbable stent with a nanoparticle technology. So this is even beyond microsphere, to have a little bit more idea of where the stent is being deployed. And this is the comparison of Absorb with Meris, and you can see that the side branch access with the Meris, also because of lower strut thickness, is also somewhat better compared to Absorb stent. So there are several, advantages of this new technology, which looks like a next generation of the BRS, and therefore we can say that Indian companies are doing much better than, their the multinationals. The reasons we can discuss why that is happening, probably because we are able to innovate quickly. We don't require so many regulatory controls to bring out a change, and therefore we are able to quickly move according to the requirements of the field, and therefore we can innovate, and we have the technical expertise as well. You can see that the coating thickness of Meris is like any other any other newer generation drug-eluting stent, which is only 2 to 3 micron coating of the polymer as well. So again, the same technology is employed here. The structure is also similar. This is first 100 cases have been done, more than 100 now, first in men for this particular stent. And generally, what we know is, at least clinically, most of them have a good result. Of course, we'll wait for the final results, which would be available soon. Another important aspect is radio opacity, and as I said, you can see that there are 3 markers, and actually there are 6 markers. 2 of them are aligned. So when you see in one place, at least at any point of time, you will see 3 markers. So you are more sure of where the precise positioning of this particular scaffold, unlike the previous one. And then, as you can see, the size is also of a wider range, and you can have a wider range of sizes in this particular technology. But I think, all this is good. You have lower cost, you have good technical specifications, you have use in clinicals, but I think the most important thing that we need to focus at is the quality. If we have to really become the best in the world, then we need to have data which shows us that our quality is not less than anything, the best that is available. And therefore, looking at quality, there is some data available with these stents. For example, this is the BioMime stent, which shows that there is a low rate of MACE and low stent thrombosis. But of course, the numbers are pretty low, as you can see. And if you compare this particular BioMime stent is at least not inferior to any other multinational stent as far as the data that is available. I do admit that data is scanty at the moment, but whatever is available, at least you have this confidence that it is no less than any multinational stent. But there are certain other Indian companies which have large data. One of them is this Shahjahan Technologies, where they have looked at several subsets of patients, good number of patients, 12,000 patients now they have enrolled in their programs, and they have studied in a clinical way. And, and actually, this particular thing shows that, again, this particular stent has got a very good result from their trials, which were this one was published in British Medical Journal. And as a matter of fact, a large number of trials of Shahjahan have been published in different journals, including Indian Heart Journal, we are very proud to say, but also other journals as well. And so they have some data, I would say some large data. But again, I think what I would say is that the important thing is the robustness of data. Not only you have data, you can publish in some non-indexed journals, and you can say that there is some data, but the matter of fact is that the robust data is very important if you really want to compare quality with the multinational stents. There is one stent from India, the Yukon, group of stents, Yukon Choice, where we have really good quantity of data and a good quality of data as well. You can see that this particular trial, ISAR test 4, you all know about the ISAR group of trials, and this ISAR test 4 was published in Eurointervention, and it did show that actually, the stent that we are discussing was no less than Xience V, which is now the gold standard of all the drug-eluting stents in all the parameters. So it was found no less than the best of best stents, that is Xience V. And this is the curves. You can see that they are practically superimposable. So, we are fortunate. Then even going beyond that, there are certain other tests. This is a combination of 3 trials, ISAR test 1, ISAR test 4, and LEADERS trial. LEADERS is that famous trial that we know of for bioresorbable polymer. And if you combine these trials, you can see that actually the stent thrombosis is even lower with these particular stent, at least compared to the first generation DES. So compared to Cypher and other first generation DES, at least there is less stent thrombosis with Indian stent. And not only that, the Yukon Choice PC is published in many places, many journals as well, and they have huge number of efficacy and safety data, which shows you that, it is no less than any multinational drug-eluting stent. As a matter of fact, Yukon Choice PC was the first Asian DES to be, recommended at par with US FDA-approved stents by no less than ESC. So you can imagine that, what confidence even Western part of world has for our stents. Finally, I would say that this is how the stent design has evolved, and from a higher strut thickness, we are moving towards a lower strut thickness. From a simple slotted tube design, we have moved to a hybrid cell design. From a simple, stable, we have moved to biocompatible technology, to bioresorbable technology, and not only bioresorbable technology for polymer, but even for a stent. So I think, there's a great future for indigenous stents. And at the end, I would like to thank you for your kind attention. And I would sort of request you that this is the book that I have written. This is called Cath Lab Practicals, which is based on common problems that you face in Cath Lab. I have tried to summarize all the problems that can happen in Cath Lab and how to deal with them if those problems do arise. So with that note, I would like to thank you for your kind attention. And this book is going to be released at NIC actually tomorrow with the inauguration.